Tanse, I'm Chris Sinachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. The provincial and territorial premiers were in Ottawa on Wednesday for the First Minister's meeting. The premiers were joined by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at an afternoon press conference where, not surprisingly, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's 25% tariff threat against Canadian goods dominated the discussion. Ontario Premier Doug Ford also wore a hat with the words, "Canada is not for sale," firing back at Trump's taunts against Canada. The Prime Minister called for unity against Trump and vowed to even cut off energy exports to the U.S. Here's what the Prime Minister and Ontario Premier Ford had to say about the issue.
We will stand up for Canada. We will protect Canadians. We will make sure that we are there to show what this country is made of. At the same time, we've also agreed that no one region of the country should disproportionately bear the burden of standing up for all other Canadians. We have made it very clear that everything is on the table as potential responses.
For Canadians to be united, to stand up and making sure that our voice is heard. And the retaliatory tariffs need to be hard. We have to send a message when someone comes up and tries to destroy our economy. It will be devastating for Canadians.
Chrystia Freeland hasn't announced her intentions publicly yet, but posted to social media that she is taking a lot of calls and will have more to say soon. And CTV News has learned this morning Freeland would scrap the carbon tax if she becomes Liberal leader. A source close to her says getting rid of the controversial tax will be one of her policy planks. Freeland previously defended the carbon tax during her time in Justin Trudeau's cabinet. And after months of speculation about his political aspirations, Mark Carney is set to launch his Liberal leadership campaign in Edmonton this afternoon. The Liberal leadership race is expected to kick into high gear today with the expected campaign launched by former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney. He's set to make it official this afternoon. Former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland and Government House Leader Karina Gould are also expected to join the race in the coming days. The First Nations Child and Family Caring Society has filed a motion to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal in response to Canada's decision to negotiate on child welfare reform with First Nations in Ontario. Sierra Bettens brings us this brief update.
On January 7th, the Chiefs of Ontario and the Anishinaabe-Oski Nation, or NAN, announced they were going to negotiate their own agreement on First Nations CFS reform with Canada. That agreement would only apply to on-reserve members of First Nations in Ontario. In July 2024, the Chiefs of Ontario and NAN accepted an agreement with the feds that would have provided $47.8 billion over 10 years to support child welfare reform across Canada. However, in October, that agreement was struck down by the Assembly of First Nations in Calgary. This Tuesday, the Caring Society said in a news release that they're asking the CHRT to force Canada back into negotiations because Canada was trying to exclude them from national-level negotiations. A spokesperson for Indigenous Services Minister Patty Haiju says the Caring Society removed themselves from the negotiating table in 2024 and that Canada will continue to work with the Chiefs of Ontario and the Anishinaabe-Oski Nation. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
A Northern Ontario post-secondary institution will be offering a new course this year designed as a foundation course for Indigenous students. The course falls under the umbrella of Sault College's Indigenous Studies Department, which offers a variety of certificate and diploma programs. APTN's Mike McDonald reports.
Seeing a lack of success among Indigenous students enrolled in diploma programs, Sault College's Department of Indigenous Studies is trying to meet the challenges some Indigenous students face when transitioning to college life.
I decided to create a one-year certificate called Bidabin, Indigenous Foundations, to have students get their feet wet in a certificate program, also explore courses that they might be interested in that could lead to a diploma program after.
Bidabin Indigenous Foundations includes classes in Anishinaabe-Moin and computer apps for business, Indigenous history, and land-based learning.
The name itself is Bidabin, and in Anishinaabe-Moin, it's when the sun rises in the east. So we decided, Dr. Michelle Sayers and I decided to name the program Bidabin because it's a new beginning for students, so it's a new start.
The Indigenous Studies Department at Sault College is designed as a learning environment that celebrates the languages, cultures, and traditions of Indigenous students. Carolyn Hepburn is the college's Dean of Indigenous Education.
We remain the youngest and fastest growing population in Canada. We can meet the labor demands that we're seeing across this country right now. So it's really role modeling for our young people and ensuring that they know what options are available for them in terms of accessing higher education and being successful in it.
Programs offered by this department are not only for Indigenous students. Stacy and Emily are both taking its specialized social service worker program.
I took a 2-year leave from the Donald Doucette Youth Correction Facility, and I cook there. So working with all of I noticed there was a lot of Indigenous youth that go into the facility, and working with them, I just wanted to learn more about our culture and offer more for them.
My son is Indigenous, and I'm not, so I wanted to learn more about his culture and be able to work in the field and specialize with Indigenous communities. It's so inclusive. It's very, surprisingly, I was really scared to come into this program being non-Indigenous, but it's been great and I've learned a lot.
Applications for the Bidabin Indigenous Foundations program will be accepted beginning February 1st, with the course beginning in September of this year. Mike McDonald, APTN National News, Sault Ste. Marie.
The Government of Canada published its first publicly available annual global mean temperature forecast, predicting that 2025 will be warmer than every year on record prior to 2023. Global temperatures in 2025 are set to remain at least 1.0 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels for the 12th consecutive year. The forecast reaffirms that the significant increase in global temperatures over the past 2 years is not a temporary fluctuation, but a clear signal of the long-term global warming that is driven by greenhouse gas emissions. We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. To read and watch our stories, go to aptnnews.ca. And you can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. A new mural in Winnipeg has a unique story behind it. When we come back, we'll introduce you to the artist. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. A new mural has been unveiled at Nidanoe Youth Resource Centre in Winnipeg's North End through a partnership that also marks the launch of a young Dene man's art career. Our APTN intern reporter Veronica Blackhawk has the story.
The mural was planned as a response to Truth and Reconciliation Call to Action number 66.
Today's an exciting day. We're unveiling a beautiful mural created by an Indigenous young artist, Jedrick, and it really is based on the 66th call to action regarding the need for federal funding, multi-year federal funding to support youth programs.
The partnership, led by graffiti gallery Steve Wilson, worked with Nidinoe's executive director Shanley Scott to bring artist Jedrick Thorasi's vision to life.
And he does do very beautiful paintings, but he also does really in-depth social commentary on some of the big issues that we're experiencing across Canada right now. So residential schools, unmarked graves, a lot of the big topic issues.
With Steve and Shanley's seal of approval, the artist was given full creative control. We spoke to Jedrick about his work and what this collaboration means to him.
I just hope I could show people that you could have a really rough life and there's people there that will help you pick yourself up and sort of change your life for the better.
What advice would you give to other young Indigenous artists looking to make an impact?
It's important to just believe in yourself and your dream. I learned that there's no set path for every artist. Every artist has their own path, and I had to find mine. So,
Jedrick highlights the importance of community support, offering thanks to graffiti gallery Ndinaway and his daughter Leah. The mural aims to continue a dialogue around the importance of supporting young people with special programs as they walk their path to reconciliation. Ndinaway's efforts include Tina's Safe Haven and Safe House, both 24/7 staffed locations for at-risk youth, while Graffiti Gallery offers programming like the Art is Action Project, building partnerships with local artists like Jedrick to address the 94 calls to action through strategized mural placements.
That's the big part of it, and when someone like Jedrick can combine his artistic skill and ability and social commentary with an organization like Ndinaway, well, beautiful things can really happen as you see outside.
But the conversation shouldn't end here.
I do believe young artists need support. I actually have a lot of trouble getting support. I did find support, but I had trouble finding it.
The murals can be seen at Ndinaway offices at 650 Burroughs in North End, Winnipeg. You can find more of Jedrick's art on Instagram at Jedrick5000. For APTN National News, I'm Veronica Blackhawk.
Now to a story in Taiwan where the Wei Wing Dance Travel Project wrapped up their final performance in Namasia in northeastern Taiwan. The project brought dance to local communities without setting up a stage, allowing people to enjoy modern dance up close, aiming to broaden the public's imagination to dance. Here's a cool story from our friends over at Taiwan Indigenous Television.
With dramatic movements set to Ravel's iconic Bolero, the Wei Wing Dance Travel Project's final performance of Bolero in Kaohsiung was held in Namasha. Stage rotates no stage, no lighting approach. The team performed for free in public, aiming to inspire new ways of utilizing these spaces. After over 100 performances, the troupe presented a piece focused on living in the present and rising from hardship, which deeply engaged the local audience.
他们在尖叫的时候很有那个震撼力，让我感到很惊讶。竟然有这种那个很震撼的表演在我们比较偏僻的那马夏区。
我觉得要让小朋友多看这样子比较不一样、比较震撼的表演，对，应该会触动到他们的心灵，说应该还有其他想象的空间。
The performance was originally planned for last year, but due to typhoons, it kept getting postponed. Thankfully, the team and village didn't give up, and they finally brought the show to Namasha this year. Watching the crowd, Iwan and Diane Dancer recalled her childhood experiences of watching performances in her village.
觉得很兴奋，最期待的就是这一场，因为终于又可以回到部落，看到台下观众小朋友啊，然后像那些雅基啊、阿公啊，他们都很像我小时候在部落里面，就是阿公雅基会带我去看一些就是部落里面的表演。
其实我们去年就想要来这里，但去年就因为小犬台风，今年又因为山驼，所以我们都知道每一次的风灾会带给山区的道路、桥梁会有很多的毁损，所以我们在评估当中，去年其实就来不了。 还是希望完成最后这一站，所以最后就在12月这个时间找到一个时间点，然后也跟教会还有国中说，他们就说我们还是想要看到这个演出在这里。
The team traveled to various towns, hoping to bring Bolero in Kaohsiung to rural areas with limited art resources. The goal was to introduce modern dance to students and locals, interact with local communities, and immerse themselves in the local culture through art.
It's Thursday today, and that means it's time for our Fraser Needham to join us from Ottawa to tell us what's ahead on tonight's episode of Nation to Nation. Fraser?
Coming up after the evening news, Donald Trump's tariff threats continue to dominate Canadian headlines. Veteran U.S. journalist Mark Trahant is here to tell us what Native Americans think. Parliament has been prorogued until the end of March, and our country appears to be in a state of democratic dysfunction. Hill Times columnist Rose LeMay is here to tell us why this is happening and what some possible solutions may be. With unstable relations between Canada and the U.S. on the horizon, intertribal trade expert Wayne Garnons-Williams says this could present new opportunities for Indigenous people, both north and south of the border. That's all later this evening.
Thank you, Fraser. We now want to tell you about this week's third web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, are checkpoints a good way to protect band members from human trafficking? Your answers are yes, no, or unsure. You can go to our website at www.aptnnews.ca to have your say. And apologies, we didn't have that board ready for you. Ken McInall from Maskwacis in Alberta has beat his addictions and is almost 3 years sober this month. He will talk about his healing journey when we come back. On the east, Fredericton -7, Halifax -4, Cartwright -8, La Grande River -8, Quebec City -10, Val d'Or -7, Toronto -4, Ottawa -5, Wawa -3, Elliott Lake -6, -5 in Thompson, Norway House -6, Brandon -10, Sunny and Gimli at -2, -2 in Saskatoon, Yorkton -6, -4 in Buffalo Narrows, Meadow Lake -1, -20 in Fort McMurray, Fort Chipewyan -17, 7 in Calgary, Red Deer 2, Tofino 7, Campbell River 6, Sandspit 6, Smithers -4, -17 in Watson Lake and Rain, Whitehorse -15, -20 in Fort Simpson, Watee -14, -24 in Colville Lake, Deline -25, Baker Lake -34, Chesterfield -21, -30 in Clyde River, Agulik -35. Our next guest is from southern Alberta, and he has overcome a lot in his life and is now giving back and helping in his community. Ken McInall is from Maskwacis but lives in Red Deer, and he volunteers at the local United Way. On January 25th, 2022, Ken made the decision to quit his addiction to alcohol and drugs and has even overcome his addiction to methamphetamine. This January 25th will mark 3 years of Ken being clean and sober. We recently spoke to Ken, who joins us now from Red Deer. Ken, thank you so much for chatting with us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who may not know you?
Yes, my name is Ken McInall. I'm originally from Maskwacis, Alberta. I used to be named Hobima, but currently I reside in Red Deer, Alberta. And yeah, the reason why I moved to Red Deer is because my resources are over here, and that helps me a lot with my independency and how I'm living right now. So yeah.
You have a nice, strong support system there. My next question is, you overcame your addictions to drugs and alcohol. Can you tell us what helped you to beat that addiction?
Well, what helped me beat it was, my body was tired and my mind, it still wanted to keep going in that everyday cycle of wanting it and finding a way of getting it. So I took it upon myself to get the help, to reach out and get that help in order for me to start my healing journey on myself.
Mm-hmm. In a video you did with the United Way, you also talked about the struggles of being addicted to methamphetamine. Can you explain how difficult it was to overcome that addiction?
You know, number one, I know people in their addiction, they're scared to reach out, and you know, I fought those demons, and I overcame that power of needing and wanting, and I put that in a different way of me asking for help and wanting that help, you know, because I wanted to live a better, healthy lifestyle for myself.
Top way. This January 25th, you will be 3 years sober. A big congratulations to you, Ken. What is your message to others who want to live a sober life?
You know, my message is not that hard, but you know, the number one thing is just reach out if you're struggling. It doesn't have to be a counselor or anyone. It could be a family member or a close friend. But for me, that's what I done, was reaching out, you know, and it's helped me.
It's never too late, eh?
No, it's not. It's never too late to go for that change, for that healthy lifestyle. And for myself, it's going good, you know.
That's great to hear. You also volunteer and help and give back in the community now. What has that journey been like for you?
Well, for me, since I've been clean and sober, it has helped me out big time, because you know, at first I was that scared little timid boy, but eventually going on with the months and then continue on into the years, I've overcome that shyness, and I just speak from the heart and I tell it like it is, you know. And I'm a man, and I ain't afraid to show my feelings, you know, because to me that's what a man is, eh? Showing his true feelings and becoming that warrior within, you know.
Yeah, no, great words of advice. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for speaking with us today. We wish you all the best in your life journey.
Yes, thanks for having me, and it's been a pleasure, and Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year, Ken. And that's your daytime newscast for this Thursday, January 16th. Savannah Kelly will be here for your evening newscast in a few hours. Make sure to join us then. From our staff in our HQ in Winnipeg and from our reporters from across the country, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.